Grow, Sell, and Retire is the podcast for the lazy overachiever. B.D. Dalton, author of True Gravity and Grow, Sell, and Retire, is here to give you his 25 years of secrets, tips, and systems to take your business to the next level. This is your chance to find out what is working in sales, marketing, and running your business. If you stop learning, you stop burning. Now, here's your host, BD, with today's GSR podcast.
Hey everybody, BD Dalton here from the Grow, Sell, and Retire podcast, giving you sales tips, business secrets for the lazy overachiever. One of my favorite movies is Glengarry Glen Ross. And when Alec Baldwin is standing at the front of the room, if you haven't seen it before, he's walked in. Nobody knows who he is. There's 4 people in the audience, and they're all trying to sell homes off plan in Arizona on this piece of rubbish land that actually don't exist, but they're just trying to sell it. He rocks up in his BMW and his fancy suit and starts talking about coffee is for closers. Jack Lemmon walks to the back of the room, picks up the coffee, and he says, "Who are you? Sit down. Coffee is for closers." But guess what? He puts them all under pressure. And guess what? When you look at that, chokers, and you talked about this, choking, standing over something, getting really nervous because you got the pressure on. People perform well under pressure if they have a plan, but they choke if they put too much pressure on themselves. So today's episode, coffee is for closers, not chokers. Because when you start to think about all the stuff that you do, there's so many ways that you can make your life easier, make your client interactions better, and turn it from a closing situation into a choking situation, but back into a closing situation, making sure that you are delivering an advised purchase or assisted purchase versus just a sale. I had the privilege and the pleasure of golfing with Cyril Regis, who died this year. And he was an amazing footballer. And when I was golfing with him about 4 years ago, we were talking about his great time on the soccer pitch, on the football pitch. And when he stepped up over a penalty at Wembley, at one of the biggest stadiums that known to England men, steps up over the penalty. And guess what? He shanked it. He kicked it over. He was just so embarrassed. So how did I get under his skin when we're sitting there and we're just one hole back? And I knew that I could get in there. So I had him walk me through what he did when he missed that penalty. So he's standing over a putt, a very easy putt, 4 foot, standing over it on the 14th hole, the top of the hill. I said, so Cyril, walk me through what it felt like to miss that penalty. He's like, you know what? I'm such a professional. That is not going to happen to me. He steps up over the putt, 4 foot putt, really easy. I said, okay, Cyril steps up over the ball. He lines it up, and he goes for the kick. And guess what? The putt went just 2 inches right, and he missed it. So we were having so much fun. We were rolling. So he steps up over the next putt, which is actually only 3 foot because he just hit it 3 foot past. I said, okay, so walk me through that penalty again. So guess what? The pressure, the choke had come into effect for a man, an awesome man, a myth, a legend. And guess what? He was thinking through all the stuff that was happening to him, and it worked. He choked on a very easy putt, and he's a good golfer. He was a very good golfer, a very nice man, a very good golfer. But we all choke. Professionals choke. And guess what? They talk about it, that professionals choke even more. I was just listening to Freakonomics, and they went through this whole thing, but I wanted to make sure that I took that idea and brought it back around to what we can do in our business to make sure that when we're going in for a big sale. Have you ever gone in for a big sale? Sit back, imagine it. So you're sitting there. When was the biggest sale you've ever had? That's good. How did that make you feel? Did you sit there and think, that was amazing. I am awesome. That felt so good. I can't even believe it went so well. How did you feel? Were you happy? Were you warm inside? Were you thinking about all the things that you could buy with that money? How happy your boss was going to be, or how happy your bank account was going to be if you're the business owner? Now let's sit back and think of your biggest mess up, your biggest shank, your biggest missed putt as a professional. Even if you're not a golfer, you've been there. You've sat down, and it might not have been a sale. It might have been a job interview. something else that you've done to get into a school or get to be on a committee or something like that you thought, I'm going to nail this. And then you step up and you're like, oh no, what did I do? It all went wrong. It didn't feel right. It wasn't me. So what are we going to do to make it so that you can get to that spot? Have you ever choked before on something that you shouldn't have choked on when you didn't? Oh, I'm talking about your business, not talking about a piece of celery or a chicken bone or anything like that. What do we need to do to make it so that you do not choke? Let's do 3 things. First one is plan. Second one is practice. And third one is visualize. So the very first one, talking about planning, put a plan in place and walk through it. You know what your clients need, right? So the very first thing is, what does your client need? So if you're my client here on the podcast, what do you need? You need some tips to make it so that you don't have to go out and read lots and lots of books. You don't have to pick up my book, Grow, Sell, and Retire, or my book, True Gravity, to say, you know what, I need this so that I can go out and network better, so I can stop wasting time. I need this so I can put these plans in place to do this. So Grow, Sell, and Retire, I'm going to read this inside and out, and I'm going to get the 6 levers, and I'm going to make sure that I do that all for my business. What does your client need? What you need is some quick tips in your brain to knock you out of your own way, to snap you back into making sure that you're doing the right things. And you don't have to do all the right things, just doing some of the right things. So what do your clients need? And then what do you believe and know that your clients need? Because sometimes our clients come to us and they say, I need a left-handed widget. And they don't. They need a right-handed widget, or they don't need a widget at all. They need a right-handed screwdriver. But they think that they need this tool to solve this problem. And you know that they don't, because you are the professional. You're the one that makes it so that they do all the right things, all the right times, because they come to you to have that assisted purchase. Not the sale, the assisted purchase. So then how can we provide them solutions? So the very first one, what do the clients need? Second one is, what do you believe and know that the clients need? And then the third one is, how can we provide that solution? Is it for them to come in and go through a launch package with you so that they can figure out where they are? Is it for you to do an assessment of them? Is it just that they need to buy the darn thing and put it together? So if they just need a hut to make sure that they can store all of their lawnmowers and everything else in it, then you know exactly what they need. They might have thought they needed some part of their garage, but no, they might just need a very nice, durable plastic hut that goes outside in their garden, if they've got one, to store all of their stuff in. So now we need to practice. Very first one, plan. Second one is practice. Now you've got all this stuff in place. You know what your clients want. You know typically what they come to you and say that they need. Now we need to practice it. So what steps do you need to go through? Very first one, ask them what they need, why they feel they need it, and then ask them what they think the solution is. And then you have to ask them, if you had a solution that was helpful to them and maybe better than the one that they thought that they were going to have, would they buy it from you? Or would they allow you to help them understand why they need to? So then you need to put them in a situation where they were using your solution. So in your mind, you need to tell them a story. Story selling works so well. So put them in the situation where they are using the product that you want to talk about to make sure that they understand that they need to buy this and not what they thought that they needed to buy. And we need to figure out how to make sure when they keep going back to the thing that they think that they need, that we put them back on the switches, the things that put them back into the mindset of understanding why you are the professional and you are suggesting that they need to use this thing. So steps, situation, and switches. The very last one is visualize. With a Z in America, with an S in the UK, you have to visualize. Number one, you have to visualize the outcomes. So you have to understand in your brain what it looks like for these people when they walk out of there, how happy they are, how satisfied they are when they've put that plastic shed up, when they've implemented your service package, when they understand that if they have to use your insurance product, that it's going to pay them without any hassle because they're going to be going through a really bad time if they have to use insurance. Bad things happen that insurance covers. So people are going through an emotional state. So you need to make sure that you can imagine and visualize what they're going to feel like, and you will make sure that they purchase the proper amount of the right type of insurance. And then when you get to that point and you visualize that, You need to feel how you're going to feel. You're going to smile. You're going to feel warm inside. You're going to understand them shaking your hand or giving you a hug or thanking you for giving them the right product, helping to make sure that they have that assisted purchase that makes them feel so warm inside that they bought the right thing. You are going to feel amazing. And then when you feel that, when you see those things, write that feeling down. Write that experience down. Write it on a piece of paper, how they look, how you look. And guess what? That will bring you to a spot in your brain and in your heart that will make your soul feel like it's filled up. I know it's very spiritual, but in general, this is what makes us do it. When we start talking about whys, or when we've talked about whys in the previous one, and I talk about it in True Gravity, and Simon Sinek talks about understanding your why. When we do that and you get there and people don't buy from you, you are going to know that they are going to feel sad, that they are not going to understand the value that you're trying to provide. And if you cannot feel all of those things and you cannot visualize that, maybe you're not selling the right thing. And if you're not selling the right thing, then none of this will ever help you. Everybody goes through stages in their life, and they need to go through and build up what they need to do to practice to get to that next level, to get to that next level. But if you're not selling something right now and you're at a stage in your life when you can make a change without destroying things, which almost everybody is at that stage, we need to make sure that we're out doing the right things. So let's go back through that. So coffee is for closers, not chokers. How do we get through not choking? Just like the boys with Alec Baldwin and Glengarry Glen Ross, Jack Lemmon and all those, we need to make sure that we have a plan, that we practice that plan, and that we've visualized. My job here is to make you a lazy overachiever. People say, why lazy? I don't want to be lazy. You're not lazy. The best way to do things is the most efficient way. And if we could do almost everything that we do, or at least 50% more, how better would your life be if you were more efficient? You could get things done faster, and they were still done well. Minimum viable product thinking, but getting it into the hands of the people that need it. If you can change the world in that way. You know what? I'm not talking about heart surgery here. I want that to be done to perfection. Brain surgery, done to perfection. Working on an airplane, done to perfection. But if it's a service, guess what? There's room for error. But let's make sure that that error only happens when we are trying to do our best, and that we cover it up by telling the people how we're going to solve it and getting it solved. So cover up is probably a bad term, but in general, when you cover something up, it's not because you're trying to hide it. It's because you're trying to say, look, here's how we're going to solve that. We're not going to cover it up. We are going to make it look better. But it's already happened, so let's make it go forward. Coffee is for closers, not chokers, and you are not going to choke. If you didn't listen to this thing about Van de Velde at the Carnoustie in 1999 Open, the British Open of golf, it's awesome. So go there and listen to it. But it's funny because professionals choke all the time. And guess what? They choke more often. And if you listen to the broadcast, they talk about how the more familiar you are with your surroundings, the less focused you are. So actually on enemy territory, you actually do better. So maybe you should do that, going into one of your competitors' clients and trying to make sure that they're doing the right things. Go in there and close. Make yourself a lazy overachiever. Make sure you like, subscribe, pass this along to your friends, because I want to make your world a better place. And if you have lots of lazy overachievers around you, they're going to be able to buy more stuff for you or from you. And they're going to be able to go out and golf with you or hang out with you and do all the things because they're not going to be burdened by too many of the wrong clients, not paying them enough money and chasing their money. So go out, be a lazy overachiever. And I am B.D. Dalton, helping you grow, sell, and retire.
Thanks for joining us on Grow, Sell, and Retire. For more information, tools, or to book one of our team members to work with your team, business, or to speak at your event or conference, visit bartdaltonconsulting.com or email contact@bartdaltonconsulting.com. Buy the book True Gravity on Amazon. If you want to work for the rest of your life, that is your business. If you don't, that is ours.